So you may recall this area of the backyard food forest last year. We utilized this compost heap, which is a mixture of different compost piles, wood chips, and even soil that's been breaking down for a few years now. And we grew sweet potatoes. We planted some sweet potato slips, and not only did we harvest the greens all throughout the year, which are edible and delicious and abundant, but we ended up getting a decent sweet potato harvest as well. But at this point, I'm now taking this pile out. You can see I've taken quite a bit of the soil already from this heap, and I'm transferring it over to my compost trommel, doing some more sifting. This is the newest heap that I've been bringing over. That second pile over there now has all been sifted. That's predominantly wood chips, larger dirt clods. But if I wanted to, I could use that as a mulch around the plants. That would be great. But I'm probably just going to allow that to continually break down and repeat this cycle of letting these piles break down, running them through the compost trommel, creating soil. Been topping off my hidden hugelkultur raised beds. We've got potatoes erupting all throughout this bed over here. And so I've been continually mounding up around those greens. Here we've got the beautiful tranchuta, Portuguese kale. Absolutely gorgeous. Check out the size of these leaves here. The DNA of this plant has definitely made it into some of the unique varieties that I offer. But I'm letting this one go to full flower. I'm going to collect the seeds later on. The bees are also loving it. You can see here's another one that grew from a seed that dropped from the previous year. And we've got some variegation, some nice purple color. So there's some purple tree collard that's made its way into the DNA of this seedling. Here's another unique perennial green variety that came up this year. We've got lots of flowering at this time. And this plant has been very resilient against aphids. Not so much with some of the other varieties. It really varies. But that's what's nice about having lots of these plants growing throughout your garden, is that some of them will actually become attractor plants and take up a lot of those pests like the aphids. So here's an example. And it's not a big deal. These plants will survive, but you can just blast that off with some water. If you wanted to, spray a little neem oil. But over here we've got another raised bed, again, that I topped off with the soil that I've been sifting through the machine. So this needed almost a foot in some areas throughout this bed. It's sunken down over the previous year because it is a hidden hugelkultur. There's a lot of wood and other organic material from the garden that makes up this bed. So I'll be planting out and doing some direct seeding in this bed real soon. I've got back over towards the back end of this bed a nice patch all along the back end here of some hopness, or American ground tuber. So that's a very unique variety. We had a really nice thick dense patch here last year. I left all the tubers in the ground or in the raised bed just so that it can continue to proliferate. But I will build a trellis. That plant vines up and fills up the trellis beautifully. And we look forward to a tuber harvest this upcoming season. The goji berry plants have exploded like I've never seen before, which is really interesting because I took so much wood and cuttings off of these plants this year that I didn't quite know what to expect. But yeah, just check it out as we enter into the chicken run here. It's always hard to show you guys the actual berries and flowers forming because they really blend into the shrub. But here's the first step here before the flower opens up and then the berry starts to form. And there is a ton of density here. So these plants are growing up a 4-foot wire fencing. Let's see if we can even see it. It's just so dense. So you can see it back there. It's just 4 feet. It's being held in with some T-posts there. And I also put a bungee cord last year, which is just about to break away. It's just a cheap little bungee cord, just helping to hold some of these shoots of the goji berry up, because they'll tend to droop and get heavy once they get loaded down with the berries. But I really love planting this towards the middle of the garden because it can spread out a little bit, so near a fence line isn't the best idea. You don't want it growing into a neighbor's yard, but very easy to control, prolific plant. And the way I use it is as a border hedge around my chicken run, which helps to keep the chickens in if I ever need to put them in there. But for the most part, they're free roaming. They're my pets. Now let's go into this chicken run over here. I want to show you what's growing and give you a little bit of my ideas on this. This chicken run, it just flows right in with the rest of the food forest. And I just want to show you this real quick before I continue. But the chickens are not locked in here, but they choose to be in here. They've got shade, water, food. They've got their nesting boxes. Well, hello there. Are you saying leave me alone? Yeah? So typically what I'll do is I'll bring in a lot of the different weeds and stuff that I pull from the yard and pile them up in the chicken run first and let them pick through it. Then I'll end up making a second pile out of it. You can see back here I've got a compost bin that's got wood chips, and there's some food scraps in there, which I generally don't like to compost above ground. But we also put in different ingredients like the chicken bedding, grass clippings, that sort of thing. And so there's a constant flow of life happening in this chicken run, which in my opinion I'd love to see in all chicken runs. It's a shame when I see a coop and run that is so bare, it's just dirt, dusty dirt. The chickens are just waiting for you to throw some grain or rice or whatever to them. In this situation, they've got plenty of places to hide. They've got shade, and they've got food crops that they can eat, whether it's the greens, the flowers of the greens, which they love, the seeds that drop, or in this case, the goji berries they absolutely love. So they'll hop up and they'll get access to the lower hanging berries that form. So they've got a food source there. Here we've got a pineapple guava, or a feijoa. So my hope is with this plant here is that it grows nice and tall and it's strong enough to support the chickens so they have a place to roost right in the run. It's an evergreen, so it's going to continually protect them throughout all the seasons from wind, rain, and visibility from some of the different predators that we have. We have possums, which aren't really predators for us, raccoons, and the ones that are the most danger are the chicken hawks. And then this tree here is the Pakistan mulberry. Produces nice long edible berries. This tree is going to get very large, so I positioned it appropriately here in the chicken run. So another possibility for them to roost in this tree right in the run and produce an abundance of berries that will both fall to the ground and provide food for the wildlife, and most importantly for us. It really is an abundant tree, so I look forward to that. But down below we've got perennial greens that have self-seeded and are just keeping that cycle going. There's garlic patches that you can't see back over in the corner right now. But pretty much if there's a space for something to grow, we allow things to just volunteer themselves there, or we plant them and let them grow up. Here we've got an artichoke. You can see we've got a couple globes here starting to develop. And it produces a nice amount of shade down here and protection for the chickens. You can see back there this calla lily. What else we got down over here? Well, I see some hollyhock growing up over there, volunteered itself. And we got a banana patch. And we have yet to get mature bananas off this patch yet. We did get some small bunches. There are things that we could do to help facilitate perhaps getting some larger banana bunches, like removing some of those shoots that have come up so that there's just a few rather than a big heap of them. But regardless, we love the banana for its ornamental quality, and also the leaves have many uses. Whether you're using it as a substitute for paper plates or using it to make different Filipino dishes, for us it's more of an annual. Dies back in the winter and it comes back each year, so that's cool. So here's the back side of the chicken run. You can see we don't have any gojis growing up this part of the fence. But back over here there's some hop vines that will eventually crawl up, and I've got some posts here that I plan on putting a trellis up. So here's another view of the chicken run. Just look at all the abundance here. And of course the bees are flying around pollinating the flowers. But the chickens are just as happy as can be in here. There's not much of a difference between their run and the rest of the food forest. And because of that, if I do need to put them away, whatever the case may be, it's not stressful for them. And they're quite happy back there. It's very interesting how they actually prefer. Again, we'll peek in here. See one of the ladies eating the chicken crumbles. I need to add some more food in there for her. I also threw in some transplanted aloe vera that I had to take out of the front yard, and you can see it's actually flowering even though it's not even in the ground. but I'm planning on putting some aloe vera in this shaded area here, see how it does. We got grapevines crawling up the actual chicken coop, which this is just a section of an old carport canopy, and I custom made this tarp, and I'll show you guys how to custom make tarps in a future video as well. Time for a little afternoon snack. Still getting some Valencia oranges here. Just a reminder, get your vitamin C, some other supplements, highly recommended in these trying times. With the virus that's been spreading its way across the globe, is get your vitamin D3. The best way is to get out in the sun. If you can, take your shirt off and just absorb some of those sun rays if you can. Also, take some vitamin C supplement if you're not getting your daily recommended using lemons and oranges and what have you. Just get some vitamin C powder. Just a multivitamin is good. Take some zinc. Those are the three: vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc are the three supplements you should really be focusing on right now. Not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, of course, but that's at least what we're doing. You can look into that if you'd like. I'm going to be doing a garden tour, a food forest tour real soon. I just wanted to make this check-in video. Hope you all are doing well. Be sure to hit subscribe if you like these videos. There's plenty more content coming down the pike, and sure do appreciate when you guys rate the video, so give it a like. I'm going to get back to doing my thing in the garden. Hopefully you guys are out in the garden getting at least one thing done today as well. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.